Wagwan everyone, Sanjae here, and welcome back to the channel. And of course, it's that time of the month where we talk about our expectations and predictions for the upcoming chapter of the Boruto manga. Of course, if you're new here and you like everything Boruto, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we're on our way to 20,000 subscribers, hopefully this year. Somehow by some miracle. Hopefully some random Zenkai boost will come out and will, you know, boost up to 20,000. But anyway, yeah, welcome again. Respect for tuning in. Of course, welcome back to the returning subscribers as well. Naturally, at this point in time, considering this is being recorded on the 16th, I know spoilers are out for the Boruto manga, but unfortunately, I hardly, if ever, cover in-depth spoilers that are usually released at this point in time, like 2 to 3 days before the chapter. But at the same time, I'm aware they're out, especially since I usually end up live reacting to the Boruto chapter. I mean, a live reaction stream. I usually try to avoid spoilers. So yeah, granted, I will leave a poll in the community section of my channel here. Do you guys want me to live react to this month's chapter again? Because it's the same situation as last month where, hey, I'm gonna be at work when the chapter drops, so I can only, you know, drop my review or do a live reaction once I get home. Or is it the case you want me to just read the chapter while at work and then come home and just drop a review video? Let me know. The poll will be in the community section of my channel. Granted, if most persons say, yo, you know, just drop a review and thing, I'll cover and give my thoughts on the spoilers tomorrow night. So I'm giving it 24 hours. I'll probably just create the poll right after recording. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Chapter 56 of the Boruto manga. Yo, honestly, we have to kind of talk about how chapter 55 ended. Of course, it had a heavy focus on Code, one of the last few remaining inner members of Kara, and basically Isshiki passing on his legacy of power and the legacy of the Otsutsuki to him. Of course, we also had the finalization of a conflict between, you know, Team Boruto, or Team Sasuke, Naruto and Kawaki, and Momoshiki, who had possessed Boruto's body, and we're basically heading back to the village at this point. Now, I will say that I have seen some video titles in terms of the persons who have covered spoilers for this chapter, so unfortunately I kind of have a, like, you know, put two and two together, a general idea that things aren't going to be slowing down. So that's kind of influencing my expectations and predictions here. Just, you know, disclaimer, being completely transparent. So chapter 56. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we get the reintroduction of another inner member of Kara, alongside Code actually mobilizing to confront either Sasuke, Naruto, Kawaki, Boruto, or a combination of all these characters. Now, in this additional inner member, I'm expecting either Delta or Kashin Koji to make an appearance, because for the most part, considering that Isshiki has left things to Code for the most part, I would imagine that he is by default the quote-unquote new leader of Kara. So even though I kind of see, if things kind of align based on how I'm power scaling things with the fact that he has the, you know, non-vessel white karma, he can't be a vessel for reincarnation for Ishiki's spirit. So, but I imagine based on how I was analyzing it, Code should have Ishiki's power, making him the strongest person in the verse right now. So by that logic, I don't think you would have to really consult with any other Kara member, and given how devoted and I would say, I wouldn't want to say crazy, but how he felt about Isshiki, he might just rush over to Konoha more than likely. So there's that. But I think for the sake of the plot going forward and actually start crafting the foundation of, you know, let's say we need some more on the members of Kara. I think I did discuss this in a recent video. I think I did. I think I did. So I think it would be the best. My prediction is Code will interact with another member of Kara before mobilizing and heading out. So I'm expecting that. Granted, per se, I would want Kashin Koji to make an appearance for this chapter. So yeah. So hopefully we get that in the chapter. Now, in terms of Code mobilizing and heading to Konoha, I don't think it should take him long if he decides to go, but honestly, I think one of the major things that will actually come out of chapter 56 is the start of the conflict between Kawaki and Code. But yeah, that's the video I was talking about, where I kind of discussed things about, establishing more stuff with Kara. So I think we'll get the foundation of the conflict between Code and Kawaki, as for the most part, there's a parallel to me that's been drawn where, Kawaki has lost the karma and he's trying to help Boruto lose, get rid of the karma. And on the other side, we have Code, who actually, he loves the karma. He loves the fact that he can be a vessel for a person that, well, not can't really be a vessel anymore, but he loved the idea of potentially being a vessel for this, god person he considered to be god. So it's going to be interesting to see how the conflicting feelings and ideologies on how Isshiki Otsutsuki's legacy is viewed is actually going to pan out in the narrative for the most part. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a confrontation between Code and Kawaki first, if anything. Granted, I'm actually not expecting to get any like major in-depth fights for this chapter. Probably Code comes to the village, probably it showcases his power against another important character. But I think this chapter is going to kind of set the foundation for what's going to happen with Naruto and Sasuke as well, because the thing is, I did do 2 videos dedicated to each of those characters after chapter 55 dropped to kind of analyze their power and what they could do going forward, considering they lost the Rinnegan and the Nine Tails respectively. So at this point, I think this chapter might form the foundation of showcasing, or at least setting up, what Naruto and Sasuke are going to do going forward when it comes on to battle and combat, or at least showcase how they're going to be affected. It might be a stretch, honestly, because Naruto and Sasuke, well, specifically Naruto, has been in the spotlight for the longest while. So yeah. So honestly, I'm probably not expecting to get too much on that, but at least just a bit of setup when it comes on to how their characters and in terms of fights are going to be handled going forward. So there's definitely that to look forward to. Of course, between Boruto and Kawaki now, honestly, Kawaki says he's going to help Boruto get rid of the karma, but the thing is, how are they going to actually do that? How are they going to push, well, Kawaki's promise forward? That's the thing now. And then again, how would Amado, a person like Amado, actually fit into that as well? So that's the thing. And one, we do have the CM plotline of potentially visiting Tsunade and investigating the Byakugo seal and its connection. So that's probably one way. Of course, given the circumstances and the antagonists that are in the series, I would imagine Kawaki is going to eventually be put on a path where, hey, yes, I want to do this, but I need power, and my body is mostly Otsutsuki now, which would tie back into my video that I did regarding the fact that both Kawaki, well, at least Kawaki and potentially Boruto would eventually get new karma seals eventually to make use of their Otsutsuki DNA in terms of bringing out the power. And it kind of seems like I'm on the right track, considering we have this non-vessel white karma, so I could potentially see Amado factoring into that. But I think Amado needs to be a big focus for this chapter as well, honestly. Because last chapter we had him seemingly talking to somebody in the back, and Sumere looks very concerned based on how chapter 55 ended. So honestly, when I really think about it, I'm like, yo, Amado definitely needs to get some spotlight with this coming chapter, honestly. Whether he's, I'm not gonna say alright that Kishimoto needs to just, yo, this is my true objective, this is my true goal, kind of still build up to it, but kind of give us more than a few breadcrumbs for this chapter, honestly, and probably get an idea of who he was talking to. Is this a case where setting up a Kashin Koji revenge plot? I don't know. I don't actually feel like that's going to be the case. I don't know. Granted, maybe a revenge plot with Kashin Koji versus Amado. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm all that invested in that, because in terms of the quote-unquote fallout you would say that has already happened, I don't know. It doesn't feel like even though Amado wasn't really expecting Kashin Koji to necessarily kill Isshiki, it just doesn't feel like they really ended things on bad terms to me, honestly. Even though, I mean, Kashin Koji must have felt that deep down he wouldn't be able to win, even though he was confident in actually taking Isshiki out. So I don't know, I don't feel like they were ended things on like bad blood per se, but I think a follow-up on that narrative, you know, thread there needs to be followed up on. Especially if Kashin Koji is the one that you know, Amado was talking to. Maybe Kashin Koji got in touch with him, and that's why you know Amado was like in the corner, like kind of talking or whatever, or mumbling. So yeah, so a number of things really need to be followed up on. Of course, as I said, I've been kind of spoiled based on getting a general idea of what's going to happen, in the sense I've seen other YouTubers titles for the spoilers in terms of the threats not, you know, dying down and things really continuing in terms of pacing. So more than likely Code will end up in the village by the end of this chapter, more than likely, and that will kind of give room for not only Naruto and Sasuke to, you know, I wouldn't want to say finish being phased out, but at least kind of set things up for how they're going to be handled in the story going forward. Start setting things up with the Kawaki versus Code battle, whether it be an actual battle, ideology and thing. Definitely Amado and the continuation of potentially his and Kashin Koji storyline. I know this is a lot for one chapter still, but it's just my expectations at the end of the day. So yo, honestly, I'm just really hyped to actually see what's gonna happen. And for the most part, I think for the long term, what I'm looking forward to going forward with this chapter is just establishing the foundation to get these antagonists in the story a bit more, get us, the audience, a bit more invested in them from the perspective of empathizing with, you know, where they're coming from. Because that's, I'm not saying every antagonist and villain needs to be like that, but this is the Naruto franchise, and that's kind of like the bread and butter of like antagonists, with, you know, a few antagonists probably here and there that you're just like, whatever, they have a good personality, we don't really need anything complex with them. So that's really and truly it. So I'm expecting a lot for this coming chapter. So Code versus Konoha, let's let's go, Yasumi. I mean, who knows, probably by the end of it, going into chapter 57, probably will, I think I'll end with this to say probably this chapter will probably end with us setting up things for like an ultimatum kind of narrative, where Code probably gives them like some ultimatum to say, yo, it's either this or this, I'll give you enough time to do this, or I'm sealed until this time, or I'm gonna release the 10 tails or something, and it's going to kind of form the basis of going into the time skip, or some major tragedy is going to happen. Well, we did have Kurama dying recently, but I feel for the most part, things going forward, if we're continuing with the pacing from the previous fight, things kind of need to get worse for the main characters. I think that's the thing persons are looking forward to as we head towards the time skip. Yeah. But anyway, I think I've rambled on long enough. Let me know what you guys thought about my thoughts and expectations for the coming chapter of the Boruto manga. Yeah. Of course, remember to check out the poll and let me know if you guys would rather a live reaction or just a review, and if so, I'd cover the spoilers tomorrow night and give my thoughts on them. So yeah. But anyway, Sanjae Uchiha, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. And respect for tuning in if you made it this far. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you in the next Boruto video. Hey!